As a veterinarian, I've seen too many emergencies on the holidays due to food intoxication. This is one of the biggest emergencies that we see during this season. So in this video, I wanted to share some of the foods that we commonly have during the holidays, but can be deadly for pets. So if you don't want to spend your holidays, New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve in the emergency room, then keep watching this video. By the way, I'm Dr. Gabby and this is innerVet, where we share everything about pets. So let's get into it. So yes, one of the most common emergencies that we see during the holiday season, including Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve, are food intoxications. We can see symptoms like bloody diarrhea or explosive diarrhea, a lot of vomiting, like more than 3 times a day, which is concerning. We can see abdominal pain or belly pain. Our dog or our cat can be like lethargic and not wanting to play anymore. So all of those are the most common symptoms that we see during an emergency, especially if it's something that they ate and they were not supposed to. Now, something to keep in mind with these symptoms is, for example, if your pet vomited once, okay, it's not like huge concern. You can wait a little bit to go to the vet. But if your pet, especially your cat, vomited more than 3 or 4 times a day and it's like nonstop, they're not able to hold their food down, not even holding water down, that's concerning. And that's a sign that you need to go to the ER right away or your local vet if they have appointments available. If your pet is presenting these severe signs and you wait, they might get severely dehydrated, and that can be a worse emergency that can actually be life-threatening. So it's always better to act fast when we have these severe symptoms. Now let's get to the tea. What are the foods that we commonly have in the holiday season that might cause a huge emergency on my pets? Well, some of them are like basic knowledge. I think at this point, most owners know that chocolate, for example, is super toxic for pets. But we're still gonna mention all of them because you never know if there's a new owner out there watching this video.
Hi there, it's Gabby from the future. I actually had an idea while I was filming this video about creating a magnet that has all of the toxic food for dogs and cats. So you can just place it in your fridge and you don't have to think about, oh, is this toxic? Maybe this is. You can just simply have all the ingredients and toxic foods in your fridge. And not only that, but also know which ones are super deadly and the ones that are not so important. At the end of the video, you'll see my actual aha moment where I was like, this is a good idea. So yeah, I'm gonna include the link down below in the description so you can check it out. And if you do buy it, you'll be supporting my channel and supporting innerVet. So thank you so much. Now let's continue with the video.
Okay, so number 1 is chocolate or caffeine. We've all gotten this cozy, warm holiday cocoa powder or those like caffeine candies or chocolates. Okay, so let me tell you that chocolate has theobromine, and that's a component that dogs and cats cannot process, especially if it's a very dark chocolate or the fancy ones that we usually gift for Christmas. Cats are not usually interested towards chocolate, but dogs can be, and for both of them it's very toxic, so it's better always to avoid any accident. Now, the symptoms that we need to watch for are diarrhea, like explosive diarrhea or liquid diarrhea. It's probably not going to be bloody yet or the same day that they ate the chocolate, because bloody diarrhea takes a few days to develop. But you can see explosive and liquid diarrhea. You can see vomiting, and usually you see that dark chocolate color in the vomit, but it can also be yellow because of bile. If they ate a lot of chocolate, you can see hyperactivity, which can lead to seizures or tremors. And of course, if you have a small dog, that's actually worse, because yes, chocolate is toxic overall, but if a huge dog eats a small amount of chocolate, it's not going to be too important. But let's say a poodle toy, chihuahua or something like that ate a chocolate, that small amount is going to harm them a lot more than if you have a large dog. Ingredient number 2 is going to be grapes, raisins, or currants. And that's usually what we use for the stuffing if you're cooking turkey, for example. So make sure you're not giving any extra table scraps of turkey to your pets, especially if it has these ingredients. Other foods that have raisins and grapes, for example, can be fruitcakes or those holiday breads that we usually eat. Dogs and cats cannot process raisins and grapes, so it can cause a sudden acute kidney failure even if they eat like small amounts. Ingredient number 3 is going to be a very common one, which is garlic, onions, or chives. We use them for everything, right? Not even during the holidays, also when we cook every day. And you have no idea how many emergencies I've seen because of onion intoxication. A lot of them are puppies because they're more like curious, so if you drop something to the floor, they're like a vacuum and they'll be there in 2 seconds to eat whatever you drop. So maybe if you have a doggy gate or if you can keep them in a separate room while you're cooking, that can be a good idea. That way you don't have to be like worrying about what you're cooking and also worrying about your dog not getting the stuff that you're dropping to the floor. And it's the same criteria as the chocolate. A very small amount can really harm a small dog or a cat. But if your large breed dog, like a husky or a golden retriever, ate a tiny bit of onion, it's not going to be a huge emergency. Still toxic, they can still vomit or have diarrhea, but it's not going to be a huge accident with consequences like anemia where you have to go to the vet right away. Ingredient number 4 is going to be alcohol or yeast. And by yeast, I mean like the dough that we use. Alcohol is extremely dangerous for pets. So if you're drinking like a very sweet drink and you leave it on the side table and you go to the bathroom real quick, your curious dog or your curious cat can actually lick it and get intoxicated. Now, I know what you're probably thinking if you don't know the consequences of it, but it's not going to be the funny intoxication that humans get. Your pet is not going to be like drunk and then have a hangover the next day. They can actually have neurological signs that can lead to tremors and seizures, and they can actually have severe vomiting and diarrhea, which can lead rapidly to dehydration. It's different when we dehydrate because we're bigger than them. But think about a tiny amount of alcohol in a tiny pet and what it can do. So just even a sip of alcohol, it's a concerning emergency for your pet. So go to the vet right away if you see that. Ingredient number 5 is going to be xylitol, and usually that's the ingredient that we find in gums or candies, especially the sugar-free ones. And I would say this is one of the most serious intoxications in pets because the symptoms come fast and it's very hard to reverse them when they're already advanced. So it can cause a very low sugar level on your pet, and it can actually lead to kidney failure as well. Okay, the next ingredient is going to be for the parents that think that giving table scraps and human food to their pets, it's actually like,
oh, I love them. It's just a little bit.
I know it's hard to say no when they're looking at you with those eyes, but for your pet's sake and their health, you have to. So it's going to be fatty foods and human food. This includes like cooked bones, for example, or just table scraps, any table scraps that you might have. And why is that? Because if you notice, mostly everything that we cook have onions or garlic or spices that can be actually toxic for your pets. They also have a lot of salt or a lot of sugar. So our stomach and our diet is not the same as theirs. And it can be actually very harsh on their stomach. So if you give a lot of fatty foods, it can lead to pancreatitis. So you're going to have a lot of vomiting episodes. They can be acute or chronic, especially if you're giving table scraps over time. If you give a lot of salty foods, it can lead to kidney failure or liver failure. If you give very sugary food, it can lead to diabetes or a sugar imbalance. All of those excessively are going to cause an acute emergency that you have to go right away to deal with the symptoms. But if you do it over time, tiny bit can actually cause a chronic issue where you're probably not going to notice because it's going to be like, oh, my cat is vomiting like once a month. And then it's going to be like twice a month, 3 times a month. And then you're going to go to the vet, they're going to run some labs, and they're going to realize that your cat or your dog is having a chronic pancreatitis. So let's just be extra cautious and avoid all of that because you don't want to go to the emergency vet during the holidays, or maybe not having an emergency but going to the vet a month after and realizing that your pets have pancreatitis or high kidney values that you're going to have to spend a lot of money on medications. So remember, everything starts at home, and these are things that are totally preventable. So I hope this video helped with some of that information, and maybe you learned something new and you can keep your pets safe during the holiday season. You know what I'm thinking? Every pet owner should have like a magnet with the most common poisonous food for their pets in their fridge so they don't forget. That would be a good idea. Okay, well, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you learned something, you enjoyed it, and that it helped you learning more about your pets. So if you liked it, and if you like my channel where we talk everything about pets, you can subscribe or hit the like button or share this video with someone else. By the way, if you're looking for holiday costumes for your pets, I'm gonna leave some affiliate links down below. If you get it from my link, it's gonna help my channel grow, and I would really appreciate it. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in my next video.